Well, hello, folks, and welcome. Welcome to Just Folks Conversations with Emma. I'm Emma, and as always, I have another spectacular guest. You are going to just love this gentleman. He is really what I would consider a force of nature. Paul Braswell is someone who is actually hard to describe. He's very talented.
I'm so sorry.
He blazes trails. He doesn't just think outside the box. He eliminates the box. He doesn't do boxes at all. So I'm going to simply stop talking and say, welcome, Paul. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
Paul Braswell, your baby, founder and CEO of Heart Healthy Healing. First of all, I want to thank Conversations with Emma for inviting me. Baby, you're in for a learning treat. And she is so correct, baby. I'm all over the top, and I don't think inside the box. I think not pennies, I think trillions of dollars. And hopefully you think the same. And also for me, and I try to encourage others to, when you have a dream, make sure your dreams are in color. HD, of course. And with that being said, I am the founder, CEO of Art Health and Healing and Art Chit Chat Chew.
Now stop right there.
Okay.
We got to slow it down because I want to make sure everybody gets to hear exactly what you're saying. The two organizations.
Okay. Art, Health, and Healing is one. Because I'm so sorry. I get so excited and I just go zillion miles an hour. So I'm glad Emma Brody slowed me down because I'm over the top. So anyway, with that being said, I found it.
Second organization. You mentioned two.
Oh, the first organization is Art Chit Chat Chew, which gave birth to Art, Health, and Healing. Art Chit Chat Chew is a for-profit organization that deals with art management. Art Health and Healing is a nonprofit organization that deals with individuals with chronic medical conditions, or what I reference is as life-changing indicators.
Okay, and some of those life-changing indicators might be?
Oh God, where do I begin? Hey, look, I'm not going. I could just. I have to.
Well, start with you. Let's get it kind of personal. Start with your life-changing event. Something that kind of gave birth to what you eventually decided to do.
With the life-changing indicator with Art Chit Chat Chew, because I want to go in chronological organization order, I would say the life-changing indicator for me with Art Chit Chat Chew was based on my collecting art over the past 25 years, which actually started out as a hobby in decorating my home, my first home that I moved in, which led more so into becoming more educated, and then it developed more into where a mission and a vision and a purpose based around me collecting art. And so that moment when I had the opportunity to take that knowledge that I had gained over 25 years and introduce it into the, at that particular time, I wasn't thinking healthcare industry, but into the facility, which is a healthcare facility that I was working in, because I am a registered nurse and I've been a nurse for 36 years, and my background is working in the operating room. So the facility where I was working, they had an employees engagement committee. So I was like, it's very diverse. So I decided, I was like, maybe I can present to that committee, like introduce art into this particular healthcare facility. And when I did, surprisingly, it went over so well. I was like, oh my God.
Well, let me ask you, when you say introduce art, what did that actually look like? How do you introduce art into a medical facility?
Well, first of all, by providing what most people say is like a festival or an exhibition at the hospital. In this particular hospital, out of all the hospitals I've worked in, when you enter it, if you are like have an art background or have an introduction to art, then you would realize when you walk in this facility, 100, well, let's not say 100, like 99% of the work that they had displayed throughout the entire facility was African American art. It blew me away. I felt like I was at the Reginald F. Lewis Museum at this particular facility. And so, but it didn't dawn on me initially. It was like when I would travel the halls to do something or to get something, and I would recognize like our African American artists. Like most people are familiar with like Charles Bibbs, Leroy Campbell. I actually called Leroy Campbell because I have a really good relationship with him from buying art. And so with that being said, as I'm moving along and moving along and moving along, it didn't happen like my first year of employment there. You know, it just gradually entered my mind. So when I had the idea of introducing art to that hospital, plus my goal was trying to educate the employees and the community because the hospital has a negative name attached to it. And I know most of you heard of it. Now it's not the original name. You used to call, well, the hospital used to be called Bonds of Court. But when you mention it to people, they say Bonds are killer. Bonds are killer. And I defend them. I defend them because I would, to be honest, I would say the same thing. I wouldn't go there for anything because of the stigma attached to it. However, when I was hired there in 2013, and I went through the orientation process, I was blown away about what that particular hospital did for the community that no other hospital in Baltimore City has done that I worked at. I was so impressed. And then I also share with people that you can die or, you know, have an uneventful occurrence at any hospital. And I believe because that hospital is predominantly Black and it's in an area where, you know, the people were denied or ignored, in my opinion, then that's how that reputation, you know, came about. I even said it to because one of their populations that they serve was the Division of Correction. For those of you who don't know, people that are in jail. We operated, I don't know what the connection they had to service that group, but they even had the inmates come there for surgery and talk about Bonds of Cook. I will defend them. I will defend them. Believe me, I will.
So they were making a good faith effort to provide services to the community, and it appears that from the way that they, I'm going to say, decorated their hallways and in public areas, they were making it an effort to communicate and connect with the community by featuring African American art throughout.
Yeah, that I would not say that. Now, this is my opinion. Okay. From my experience there, I would disagree because once I had the conversation like with the administration, not the CEOs, but like the HR on that level, it appeared that they would reach out to me when they were like, oh, we want to do this related to art. We want to do this related to art, like in the emergency room. This was before LifeBridge took over. We wanted to do something while people are here waiting in the waiting room, something that would reflect, you know, them, the community, the people that live within the community, and people of Baltimore City. So I don't know if they understood the power of art. That's what I would say. I don't know if they understood the power of art during that time.
Until they must have had a clue at least because at least there's a demonstration of consistency. And then they did reach out to you. So they had a sense of something, even if they didn't have obviously your level of expertise. So in
I
other
would
words,
agree.
we're both saying some positive things about Bon Secours.
Oh my God, yes,
Okay.
definitely, definitely. Oh, what they, especially with the community and their community-based hospital, and they do a lot. When it was Bon Secours for the community, and when they separated, I still believe that, like, I think, I'm not sure, you can verify this. I believe the Bon Secours part, they still had in charge of the communities, but I'm not sure. I can't confirm that.
Okay. Well, the part that you can confirm is that you did have a contribution.
Oh, and absolutely, especially when the vice president of nursing, Matt Ansel, he just left from allegedly a couple months ago. He left. I received a note from him thanking me. Plus, he paid me for that day, which I wasn't even expecting. And it was like only like 2 sentences thanking me for introducing it to the staff and introducing it to the community. I was like, oh, and
So,
that what led to the birth of Art, Health, and Healing. Because I was like, oh, maybe I'm onto something. Because, you know, I'm a visionary baby. And my dreams are what I said to you in color. It may not be no big old screen, HD, 60-inch TV. It's going to be a little, it could be a little 8x11. But it's not in black and white. It's in color, truly. And so when I was watching TV, and I saw it, I was like, maybe I can introduce art into the healthcare industry nationwide, baby, because I think outside the box, or outside of this country, outside of the world. So, in doing that, I was like, first, I had to do some research to, you know, to get my thoughts together about how to approach it. And so based on my research, basically I found that art has the power to heal. And I'm looking at a like a medical perspective, not outside of medical, but my focus was medical because that was basically my background. But as a part of my growth and development, it's just not limited to medical. It can be all sorts of things. So I'm happy that I believe it was the ancestors that put the idea or the concept in my mind and you know, like encourage me or drove me to move forward. And baby, let me tell you something. I did have a whole bunch of hurdles to jump as if I was in the Olympics, but I jumped over them. Do you hear what I'm saying? Spent my own money.
What were some of the hurdles that you faced?
One was the one was money. Two was I lacked the knowledge that I needed. Three was that I was functioning independent with no help. I was doing it all on my own. And when I look back at where I am today, I feel that if I had like another individual that was as driven and as compassionate about what I was trying to do, it would have, one thing, probably saved me a lot of money. And then everything I was doing on my own could have been divided amongst the two of us so that we could be on the same path. For example, I wasn't even familiar with the nonprofit industry at all, none whatsoever. So when talking to some of my professional friends, no, actually it was an attorney, Black attorney downtown, Derek G. Hamlin. So not realizing what I wanted to do, but he said to me, well, you'll probably be able to get more money for your business, or people are willing to give if you do nonprofit versus what you're doing for profit. More people are willing to give. So that resonated in my mind, and I heard nonprofit a few more times. So then I did some research to find out how I can get that started. And so I did. And how I got that started was, most people like go to Google. So part of my research, I landed on two freelancers platforms. And the freelancers are these like individuals that are hired for businesses, mostly businesses, and people who work full time. So it's ideal. So for me, the two most popular ones that you hear people talk about is Fiverr, which is spelled F as in Frank, I as in India, V as in Victor, R as in Randy. I believe that's correct. The other popular one is Upwork. Up as in up and down, work as I got to go to work today. So Upwork. So I use Upwork, and I had trials and tribulations or hurdles learning Upwork, where today I'm very comfortable. So what I did was initially in getting this nonprofit, I didn't have a clue. So what I did was went on Upwork. Then they're freelancers, like I said before. So you're the employer. So you go on like that platform, Upwork, and I post a position for whatever it is that you need. Say, for instance, if you need somebody to mop your floors. So you go on Upwork, create a job for somebody to mop your floor, you look at the rate, and then you create the profile, those kind of things. But I also, for me, I watched a couple of videos. So what I did once I learned that I had to submit an application. So I went on that platform, Upwork, and my job posted was something like a freelancer expert familiar with submitting 501c3 applications. And so and they give you a list of profiles that you can scan through, look at their reviews, so on and so forth, like shopping for a product. You're shopping for an employee, like most companies would do, shopping for an employee. And so for me, I was shopping for a freelancer / employee that dealt with 501c3 application submission. And I found this one out of New York. Her name was Sade. Oh my God. I learned so much from her. And one thing I learned was this, that when you're applying for 501c3s, she shared with me that there's something like a $100,000 501c3 or a $50,000, I guess, annual gross, or I can't remember what it was because it was like a few years ago, like maybe 4. But it's let's say the category of 100,000 or the 50,000. So she advised me, Sade, to apply for the $100,000 one because the $100,000 one usually take about 1 year. So she said, if you apply for the $50,000 one, and all your credentials that you submit are in place, then you'll have an answer within 30 days. So I took her advice, submitted my request, pay her the fee for it. In 30 days, I was approved for the 501c3. And so that was that part. So then the next part I needed that I was, now remember, I'm doing all of this on my own. We're trying to work full time, which I was working at Bon Secours at the time. So also the research part, I mentioned to you, I wanted to do a little research. So I went on Upwork and I looked for an employee that specialized in research. So I had an employee, I found a freelancer that's out of DC. She worked correspondence for the White House. And at this particular time, Trump was in office. So I was sharing with my friends, they was like, you hire somebody writing for Trump? I was like, listen, she could work for B Bobbity Boo. All I know is I need somebody to research this for me and send me the information. And that's what she did. It wasn't about who was in office. It was about the skills that I needed from her to support what it was that I was trying to do. And that's what helped me to move forward also. And also a part of that process for me, because I'm African American, because I'm a male, and because I'm a part of the LGBTQ community, I felt like I would be attacked. So what I did was all the verbiage that was created for art, health, and healing, I had it edited, proofread 4 times. No one at this point has criticized art, health, and healing for the verbiage. No one has. No one. Absolutely not.
I have seen the work that you submitted, so I can attest to the fact that it is very well done. My question for you, that I know that the listeners and viewers want to have answered, is what is the goal of Art, Health, and Healing? Why do you exist? Why did you need a 501c3 organization?
Why? Initially, it was because of what Attorney Hamlin said, because you'll get more support and people are willing to give more money to help support your cause.
So what is your cause? That's why I want to narrow it down to, what is the whole purpose of having Art, Health, and Healing? What is it that you do for people?
My cause is basically based on my own experience, my own life-changing indicator, as which I'm so glad you asked that question. I was diagnosed with kidney disease in 2008 of March. Went to the emergency room at University Hospital, and oh my God, I was so sick. I thought I had a cold. Go to the emergency room. I'm not going to tell you the whole story because it would take maybe 20 minutes. But anyway, the physician approached me and said, "You are going to die if you don't let us put a catheter in your neck." And I was like, "A catheter in my neck?" No anesthesia, just like going to the dentist and injecting something local in your neck. I mean, like they would if you were getting your teeth removed. Mm-hmm. So then I was told that I had to go to emergency dialysis. This was 2008. And I was like, dialysis? No education at all. So during, my kidneys didn't return, so I had to go on dialysis. I was on dialysis for 9 years, from 2008 to 2017. And so during that time, remember, I was telling you that I had collected art for over 25 years. So in 2017, well, just a short piece about the dialysis piece. During the time when I was getting my treatment, I would take art stuff with me, or art projects to work on while I was there, with Art Chit Chat and Chew. Art, Health, and Healing wasn't not given birth to. So a lot of things that I was doing was related to Art Chit Chat and Chew. So after I received the kidney transplant in 2017, and during my recovery phase at home, I realized that the research that I found afterwards, that I am living proof of it, because a part of the research said just viewing art is healthy and healing for me. So during my recovery, during that time when I was at home, to wake up and see a representation of myself, things that I want to do and things that spoke to me, I found like this was healthy and healing for me. And so in turn, I wanted to take that, create that as a mission, and introduce it to others, that maybe, hopefully, it can help heal them, or not a solution, or not to provide therapy, but just to provide some type of intervention to help them.
And support.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you make such a valid point, because one thing about art is that, you know, we all see what we see. So you can take one piece and show it to 6 people and get 6 different interpretations. But it's in that interpretation that people get involved. There's something about art that does have a healing nature to it. So I really want to commend you and thank you for having the vision to share what you've learned. And that's the other thing I wanted to mention about you. We've had a number of conversations, and in each conversation I have with you, I always find that I've learned something. So my personal name for you is Professor, because I find that you are always teaching in every conversation that we've had. So I want to encourage you to keep doing that because you know a lot.
I don't feel like I do.
Oh, but you do. You do. And I have to walk as fast as I can, if not run, to keep up with you, which is wonderful. It's very stimulating. And what are your plans right now? So, you have projects going on, and you work with all different kinds of people. I know you work with children. You actually chatted with my grandchildren, and they adore you. Adore you.
Oh, great! Thank
Yes.
you.
They only got to see you one time, and that was through Zoom. And they were like, when do we get to talk to him again? Who's that man? And so you can't, they're 6 years old, so you were able to capture their attention. That's really important, to be able to relate to people wherever they are in their life journey. You do that very well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, actually, I have several for art, health, and healing. One goal is to get more, like to recruit board members and volunteers, because basically I'm using like support of friends to help me, which have been very supportive, because the two individuals that I started with, they weren't as committed as I was. So you know what I did? I just cut them, because I like movers and shakers. So I just basically relied on my professional friends to help me move forward. So I'm right. So at the present, like I would say, one of many is to, like I said, my immediate goal would be to recruit board members to begin with, and help, have a just not like 10 or 20, just two, because it was recommended from workshops that I have attended, established with the state of Maryland nonprofit here in Maryland. I've gone to several of their workshops, and they've asked me to be on their annual conference committee. They paid for a free, not a free, well, I guess it was free, a scholarship, a full scholarship. I was like, oh, they paid a full scholarship. And then they asked me to participate on their annual conference. So they know me very well. So anyway, I was advised to pick up at least 2 board members. The 3 of you brainstorm, because right now, like the attorney said to me, you're doing everything. But if you had 2 other board members with the same interests as you, y'all can brainstorm, tweak what it is that you're doing there, and then you could divide it up. And once you create that strong foundation, then you reach out and get 2 more and give those 2 who come in those responsibilities. Because like the person mentioned to me, right now, you're doing everything. So for now, like that will be one of my immediate goals. However, also I have in mind that I have one of my major goals, what I think it would help me to recruit those board members before I even get to like volunteers for workshops, seminars, so on and so forth. I'm thinking I had to create a platform on the social media platform. So with the help of Facebook, because I was able to access free strategic marketing planning for 3 months. I used that skill. And most of you may ask, well, how did that happen? That happened because, I don't know, the person or whomever manages Facebook, they reached out to me and said, we see that you're trying to boost whatever it is that I was trying to do. Videos and I don't know, just videos. I don't know if it's always reference to art, health, and healing, but it definitely was reference to art. So they connected me with a consultant for, I mean, it was like 3 to 6 months. That was a few years ago. And so I used his skills and to help me. And so with that fundamentals of creating the marketing people categorize it as a campaign. Because the first thing, like Emma Brody said, was, what do you hope to achieve? So basically, he was the same thing. What are you trying to achieve with your first campaign? So I said I wanted people to know about it. Well, in summary, he labeled it as awareness. So my first campaign was awareness. And so I did that campaign, and you could decide on what you want to spend from, I don't know, $5 to hundreds of dollars. But remember, I'm paying everything out of my pocket. So I did, and it helped. Also, I did some free stuff outside of Facebook, which led me to where I am today. Initially, I was boosting on Instagram and Facebook. But then I received an email maybe recently regarding Google Ads. And it was a free consult. I was like, oh, anything free, I'm going to sign up for. So with Google Ads, it's sort of like the same, from my understanding and what I have found, it's the same concept. However, with the major difference that I found was versus Facebook and Instagram, Google Ads is 24/7. 24/7, your ad runs, depending on how much, and the audience that you're going to reach. It depends on how much you want to spend. For example, let's say for now, because of the expenses and stuff, I just chose $1. And I just checked before I signed up with Miss Emma on a conversation with Emma, that my $1 reached close to 2,000 people. And out of those 2,000 people, 114 people actually watched my video. So for me, because my campaign goal initially was increasing traffic to Art Health and Healing, what I did was I tried $10. So your $10 run for, let's say, a 24-hour period.
You're referring to a $10 ad? Is that you're saying your $10?
Ad,
what?
Yes.
Okay, definitely.
It could be an ad, or it could be a promotion. It'll be, because I don't consider my stuff an ad, but they title it as an ad. I title it, for me, like, well, I guess it is an ad. But see, when I think of ads, I think about like soap, detergent, all those kind of things. And it's kind of more. For mine is, my goal for the, let's say, ad was to increase traffic to the channel and increase the views to the channel.
Which brings up a good point, because you do have a channel.
Correct.
It's the Art, Health, and Healing channel.
Correct.
And you have quite a few videos that you've posted over the past, what, year and a half, 2 years?
Actually,
been that long?
Maybe I just started, it hasn't been a year. Maybe around 6 months or something. Because when I initially started up, I wasn't really engaged in it because I didn't know.
Okay. But since you picked up the professional end of it, how many views have you had?
Oh my God, greater than 100,000 views on Art Health and Healing. And most people say, well, aren't you making money? No, because previously YouTube had a criteria, and the criteria, I believe at that particular time, did not include that number of minutes or hours that people watch your videos. So they have changed. I don't really know what it was in the beginning, but it didn't reflect you getting paid or the monetization of your channel until you reach a certain amount of watch time hours, which is 4,000. You have to have 4,000 watch time hours in order for you to make money or monetize your channel. But for me, initially, I had like with Upwork helped. I had freelancers to help me. I hired freelancers to help increase the views. I had them to help me with writing tags, descriptions, and titles. But now where I am today, I don't use those freelancers because I started in India, because these freelancers in the United States are terribly expensive. So I used the India ones until I really understood it. Plus, I would recommend to people who want to learn YouTube like I did. There are two, I would say, two platforms that I'm aware of that I saw in my search to learn. vidIQ, which is V like in Victor, I as in India, D as in David, I, and it's in India, Q like in Queen, vidIQ. And the other one is Tumblr or something. Well, I tried the two. My preference is vidIQ. So with vidIQ, when you're trying to learn something on YouTube, I always advise people like to search how to use the beginners for YouTube, vidIQ. They have a ton of stuff. And one of their most popular educators is Rob Wilson. Rob Wilson is phenomenal. Rob Wilson. And when you reach, like, say for instance, you're just starting and you reach 50 subscribers, you'll get a notice from vidIQ congratulating you on your first 50 or your first 100 and so on and so forth. Then if you, those of you are familiar with, if you tag them whenever you submit something on YouTube channel, they will look at your channel and send you emails advising you certain things. Not, intense, but they may send you tips that you may want to consider, like being a part of their vidIQ learning program. And for those of you who may not know, learning YouTube is very time consuming. It's very time consuming. And for me, because like I said earlier, my two individuals that I started out with is like not involved, I could not be involved in YouTube 3 or 4 hours a day plus work. I could not do it. So that's why I outsourced. I outsourced just about everything. I outsourced this, where now I'm at the level where I've learned a lot. So for YouTube and my social media platform, my goal was the traffic, which I felt that I haven't met for our health and healing, that campaign goal, because reaching 100,000 people, I'm thinking, oh yeah, you've reached that platform. So my next platform is marketing, to show people what Art Health and Healing has to offer in referencing to workshops, seminars, classes.
And that's the heart of why we're talking today, because I really do want people to know what it is you actually offer as services. And your videos are very, very good about this. We're going to have a link at the end where folks can just tap on that and they can go in and see some of your really entertaining, very interesting videos.
I'm over the top. I tell people I prepare over the top, and I tell people have it. And then for those of you who have it like a good old cocktail, have one of them and then watch it. And for those of you who don't have a cocktail, do some free juice or something, and then watch it. Baby, I turn it out. Yes, I do. And people tell me all the time, "Oh, you're gonna be discovered." I was like, "By who? I don't care.
No.
I just want the community to be happy."
Well, clearly, and your videos are so entertaining and interesting and educational that I would suggest that people watch them more than once, because you move at a really quick pace. You jam pack those sessions. So talk about the services that you offer under Art, Health, and Healing, like your
Well,
workshops.
okay, initially before COVID came, there were going to be workshops that involved a group of individuals, no more than 10, to provide some type of art interventions. Remember, not therapy, because actually I learned from a person who was helping me. She's a professor at Towson, Celeste. She did some research on her own, and she contacted me, and she was like, Paul, you may have to change that word from therapy to interventions, because therapy attaches liability. And she sent me some links to videos to watch. And when I watched the videos clearly said most people misunderstand or get it twisted, for lack of a better word, twisted, because therapy, when you use the term therapy, it requires, it attaches liability to unique clinicians, MDs, nurse practitioner, nurses, you name it, clinicians. But art interventions, people are actually doing them, but don't realize it's an art intervention. Say, for instance, like now for me, I don't. But there are many people that make their beds. And I'm like, why do you make your bed? You get ready to get in it. It's like art. Why do people create what they create? Because it stimulates a hormone called the happy hormone, called dopamine, which is the feel-good hormone, and it generally makes them feel good. Baby, don't get in the bed that somebody makes that's unmade. Baby, they'll have a stroke. Or, like some people, like the way they set their table, the reason why people dress the way they do is because it makes them feel good. And what I also learned is this, that I've been asked many times recently, are you an artist? Because baby, I'll go out in my art gown. Gown, no, I didn't say gown. Garb. I'll be arted up from my head to my toe. And I realized that is a marketing tool. And like Emma Brody asked me, like, what are the things that are services that are Health and Healing offices, like art workshops? And actually, I actually did like private workshops when I was doing COVID vaccination sites at Ripken Stadium in Harford County. But before that, I was at Six Flags. For those of you who are in Maryland, are familiar with Six Flags. And baby, I have all kinds of hats. I don't know if you can see them. I should have had them out, but I got a bunch of hats. I didn't realize one day that people observe you. So one day I went to work. This is the COVID site at Six Flags when it first started. And I switched hats at lunchtime. And I went out to do my vaccines at the car. And they was like, oh, you got another hat? And I was like, oh, you noticed the hat? They was like, yeah. Baby, bells and whistles went off. I was like, oh, this must be a marketing tool. Baby, let me tell you something. That next day, I had all kinds of hats when I went out during that time in Largo. I mean, at the Six Flags stock people. I have a video where a lady gave me a donation. She didn't have money. She gave me like jewelry and stuff. I still have it downstairs. So when that site transferred me to Ripken Stadium as a part of the COVID vaccination process, after you get the vaccine, you have to wait for like 15 to 30 minutes. And during this time, I didn't do it with the adults. When they engage kids, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bring my little art kits with me. So while the kids are waiting their 15 to 30 minutes, because I can talk, and I can talk. And don't give me a cocktail, baby. I'll really get going. So I decided to engage the kids with the parents' permission to create, art. Baby, let me tell you something. This one young lady, oh God, if I had known I was going to talk about it, I would have had the card so you could see it. Basically, she created something, oh God, I can't think of her name, but she created this powerful stock card And I tell people that, you know, during these times, I know people are usually, well, I don't know, but people are usually maybe have some money issues, basically. So I tell people, look, we want to do this economically. And I ain't been giving up myself, baby. I went to the good thrift store, baby, bought this little hat for under $2, did not cut it up. And then I went to the good dollar store. You get paint, fabric paint versus regular paint. Fabric paint stays in. Get some fabric paint, pour it in there, twist, turn, hang out to dry. And what do you have? And you choose the colors that you want. And this came from fabric paint, baby. Now I'm not a seamstress, but my, I don't know, my ideas come from the ancestors, I believe. So I cut it up. Then I had a seamstress. I can't sew a lick. So I had a seamstress, so it wouldn't look so, you know, urban, I guess. So she sewed it. And so now I have a hat. Baby, I got t-shirts and so the whole 9 yards. So with that, I had like 4x4 cards. It was a whole sheet. So I can get 2 for 1. I cut it in half. And then what I did was at the dollar store, I bought a pack of dollar stickers. I bought a pack of like colors of crayons. And then what I did was like when the children were there, I was like, oh, you know, why you were and I was like, would you like to create your own story? And they was like, sure. And so I wish if I had that card, I said, and plus, you know, I get so excited talking about art. Actually, it was a couple kids where it was a part of art education that came with it. I made sure they signed it and I made sure they dated it. And if it had a title, I made sure they had it. You know, put the title on it. And also, you know, I said, you can keep it if you like, or you can keep it to you. I can keep it. So they let me keep it. I was like, good. And I did a video on it. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't think of it. I have so much going on. I can't
So how many videos would you say you have at this point?
I have about probably close to 100.
Amazing.
And I realized that my education videos do extremely well. And I didn't realize that until I did a education video based on attending the first African-American Collectors Club at the University of Maryland with Dr. David C. Driscoll when he was alive. And that center is named after him. He's iconic within the African-American community. And I attended their first African-American Collectors Club. And now they're traveling to HBCUs. So when I was at another art collector's home, people that I met during my journey, Sheila Wright. I didn't know she was Dr. Sheila Wright. Now you're talking about somebody that has an amazing collection. Dr. Sheila Wright does. And she has a book written. And but the key was this, and this is a part of education also, which is a part of art, health, and healing, like a workshop, provide education to artists, art enthusiasts, art educators, gallery owners, anybody that's interested in art, even for those who have children who create art. And Emma probably can tell you, I spoke to her about her grandchildren. Oh, what she create for them, she may not know, but it may be worth a few dollars, or consider it as an investment. So with that education piece for Emma Brody with her grandchildren, I was like, first of all, what kind of paper are you putting it on? She was like, regular notebook paper. I said, you want to change that immediately. And the rationale for that was that that paper that is not archival will turn brown. So immediately she was like, oh, I'm gonna give you some, regular, archival paper, which is usually in sketchbooks or art books, the archival paper. And then I educated her, like a part of our health and healing workshops, along with the art, after you create something that you would hope have an impact not only on yourself, but the community, because some of my videos that I've done, I've asked artists, what kind of impact would you like for your art to have on the community? And you'll see their response in, some of the videos that I've done. And it's not just African-American artists, but that's a majority of them. Because I don't want to say I'm discriminating. I want to present myself as very diverse.
Well,
Now, I haven't ran into a Chinese. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. You have a video that you did with a young lady at one of the fairs. It was through the summer, and of course we were still in COVID, but it was outdoors.
Correct.
And you were actually, I think, instructing her how to appropriately document her own work as an artist.
Correct.
So, your ability to educate people, that's why I refer to you as a professor. It's ongoing. It seems as though everybody you meet in every situation, you have something of value to offer and share with them. But I interrupted you. You were about to say something about a Chinese person?
Yes. And so for me, for the organization, I believe one of my goals is to make sure that the organization represents diversity. I don't want to just have all Black people. I don't just want to have all Caucasian white people. I want to have, like, a cup of vegetable soup or a pot of vegetable soup. I want all kinds of vegetables in there. And that's how I am with my workshop. I haven't ran into a Chinese or Korean one, but I believe I have a little bit of everything else in there. And I'm so glad you mentioned education piece, because I'm having a video edited by an editor that I found on Upwork. He's only charging me $8 an hour to edit. Somebody say that's cheap. So the videos that you will see, the most recent one, like in the past 3, I've been using them for like maybe 2 or 3 months. Those videos he did, the guy that I found on Upwork, and I believe for me, they're more impactful. So yesterday, because I'm always trying to figure out, how can I educate the community? How can I, I don't want to say force, place into people's mind, these individuals' mind, that documentation is severely important. However, I found that it's like a deficiency, like vitamins. It's a deficiency within the art community. And yesterday, I had people, this African-American company, hang the artwork in my hallway. And if you go to my Facebook channel, you'll see a clip. But my plan is to show that piece of them hanging the art and what he went through. But the important piece I wanted to share with you is this. 2 of them, both of them were artists. The first guy, the conversation led to he showing me his art. So when he showed it to me, the art, I was like, well, how much you want for it? He was like, $1,100. I was like, $1,100? My next question to him was, show me your resume. Show me who you sold it to. Da, da, da. He was like, I don't have it. And I'm like, and you expect me to pay you $1,000 for me? Then you maybe want to pay $1,000, but for me, no. Now, I would have gladly paid him $1,000 for it, because he would have his portfolio for me to look at, to see what he's done, and that was documented, to see who he had sold to, and seeing how he established that market value of his work for $1,000. And I probably would have bought it, because his portfolio during my process as a collector, and I consider the work, my collection, personal for me. And I buy not only because I like it, because it's a passion for me and it's healthy for me. So I want to protect it. So with that being said, what I do is go through the process of having my artwork insured. So a part of the insured process is you have to have, under absolute circumstances, you have to have a certified art appraiser to certify that amount of which you're claiming the value of that artwork is. So for him and most artists, most of them, you'll hear them say, how do I decide on what I'm going to charge, how I'm going to charge, how I'm going to do it? So I learned from Harvard for You Appraisal Services, Janice Lee. She recommended that artists begin to document, keep track of who they sold it to, what they sold it for, the narrative behind what they served, what they created, because attending, I can tell you a bunch of places, but Mertice Madola, African-American gallery only here in Baltimore. I met her when she first came here. She's been here about 20 years now, I'm thinking. Now, I tell people Mertice Madola is like the Michelle Obama. Now, not Democrat or Republican. I'm not advocating that, but I'm saying, I'm just using that as a comparison. Mertice Madola is like the Michelle Obama in the art community.
Okay.
The other person is Dr. Leslie King Hammond. She's like the Barack of the African-American community. African-American art community. Very well known, very established. So I learned a lot from Mertice and going to her gallery workshops, which there were lawyers, gallery owners there to educate us. And one of the gallery owners said to us, what also adds value to an artist's work is a narrative about what inspired them to create whatever it is they create. So, with that being said, getting back to that particular person that was hanging the art, he had none of that. And for me, with my background, I'm not paying you $1,000. No. Then he was like, after that, he was like, you know what? That's like a $50 console. Because I was telling them with Art Chit Chat Chew, I tell people, I provide you a console for $50 for 1 hour. Some people don't need 1 hour. Some people need more. But I'm thinking 1 hour, that would be more than enough time. And $50, I think is cheap. Yeah. And so that's why I stress the importance of documentation. And his partner yesterday, who was here, you'll see the video will be uploaded after it's edited. He sells art. So I was like, well, when you provide your invoice, what are you putting on your invoice? He named the basics like the size, the title, the medium. So I said, my question to him was, well, is all the artwork that you sell signed? He was like, no. I was like, well, for appraisal purposes, the appraiser wants to know if it's signed. Is she going to verify? Also, when was it created? Do you have on there the year that it was created? He was like, sometime. So I said to him, you may want to make sure you include that on everything that you create, because a part of the appraisal process to certify the amount is when was it created. Also, what I did with this showed him, or just discussed with him, is like two tools that he could use to document or keep track of his art. Because right now he told me he had it on 4x4 cards. I said to him, but what if you lose all your 4x4 cards? He was like, oh. So I said, maybe you want to consider Excel by Microsoft or Access by Microsoft. Access is what is considered a database. And for those of you who don't know how to use it like I do, I would recommend go on YouTube, beginners or introduction to Access, because Access is a database creation. Is once you learn it, for me, I believe is very customer friendly versus Excel, especially when it comes to uploading images. That
Okay,
Excel spreadsheet is a challenge.
All right, let me say this or ask this question. This information that you're sharing with us right now, is that part of what you do as as a function of art, health, and healing? Or is that separate from art, health, and healing?
Actually, it's a combination of art, health, and healing and Art Chit Chat and Chew as far as art management. It could be used for either service, because say, for instance, if I'm having a workshop with art, health, and healing, even kids, because I have an individual, he is 7 now, but he's 6, but he knows how to write. So I have him teach him how to sign his name, put the year on it, and put the title on it. So if they're able to write and they can read and comprehend, if they're 3 years old, have them sign it. So, put the year on it. So as he goes older now, he automatically signs it. He signs his word, and so it's a part of documentation. So that piece, if there's a workshop with whomever or a volunteer that's participating in the workshop, at the end of whatever is created, that education documentation piece will come in. But make sure you sign it. Make sure you put a year on it that you created, because like your grandchildren, ancestors, boom, bangity, boom, bang, whatnot. Are you sure you did that? You'd be like, yeah, it is my signature. But when did you do it? Oh, here, I did it this year, this day, so on and so forth. So that could be used for either art, health, and healing and Art Chit Chat and Chew as a part of education. From as long as they can comprehend, and even if they can't, you could take a child, because I did a child that was 2 or 3. We painted his hand, and he stamped it like, oh God,
there's a video of that, which is just amazing. And you do work with people of all ages. So
correct.
Mike, now that COVID has made its presence known, it's going to be with us for a minute, it appears. How are you providing services to individuals through Art, Health, and Healing or Art Chit Chat and Chew?
Okay, because I'm doing like everything on my own, basically, I'm focusing on art, health, and healing. So, earlier I mentioned when I was participating in dialysis until I got the kidney transplant in 2017, I was dealing with the Vita Bertha Cert. And so once and actually with the Vita Bertha Cert, based on my collecting art, I donated art to them at the clinic. But what I was like not happy with this is that the piece that I donated to them, they had it in the lobby. I did not want it in the lobby, and I was trying to understand share with them my rationale for not having it in the lobby versus having it in the patient treatment areas, because it wasn't just for one particular patient. The art was like a holistic approach, where it may be the dialysis technicians, it may be the patients, it may be the social workers, it may be the cleaning people, whomever that enters that treatment area. That art is a representation of stimulating verbal and non-verbal behavior. And so that's what I was trying to do. And again, and I'm using this as a, I guess, say an excuse, because I just didn't have the time to call her every other day, say, did you find somebody? Did you get somebody to do this, do that? I just could not do that. So when I have a conversation with Florette, she's the social worker there, she knows me very well. She was like, oh no, I haven't had anybody do it yet. And my plan was to get somebody from the outside, come in, take it from that reception area and put it in the treatment area, because the dialysis technicians are not in the reception area. The facilitators, the social workers, the nutritionists are not in the reception area. They're all engaged in the treatment area. And
so is that ultimately your plan then, to use Art, Health, and Healing to supply works of art for various facilities in areas where patients and the supplier of these resources, the service providers, will have an opportunity to just receive the beauty of these pieces of work? these pieces of art.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that
And
is
I was, oh, go ahead.
that's definite one of your goals. So
Correct.
so
The
as you were
dialysis community, that's where I started
okay.
before COVID. And then
Okay.
COVID hit, it was like, oh God, what are we going to do now?
Okay.
So
So
I've
but
been
that's
in
still your
conversations
focus.
with the social worker there at the
Okay.
clinic.
Okay. All right. Well, you seem to have such a wider range, like I said, wide range of knowledge and information. These two organizations that you funded are very powerful. You're small but powerful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I want to encourage the viewers and listeners to get in contact with you. So we can give them a number now if you like, but I certainly can post a number in the information part of the video so folks can
Sure.
they can also find your website
Correct.
and your videos. So there are a
Correct.
number of ways for people to really get a good feel for what the kind of work that you do. And I really want to encourage people to look at your videos. They are so entertaining. I've kind of calmed you down a little bit for our purposes because you can go like 199 miles an hour easily, and that's why I would recommend watching the videos a couple times, if not three. They're entertaining, full of information. So,
Yes, thank you so very much. And again, I am looking for those who are interested, not a ton, but those who are interested in being board members initially to help with my vision and my mission to serve the DMV area. And thank you for the Miss Emma for allowing me the opportunity to share this with you. You can go to my website, which is Art Health Healing. Art Health Healing. That's the website. That's the YouTube channel. The email is the same. Art Health Healing, and we use Gmail. So it's Art Health Healing on Instagram. Or let's just say the social media platform. Art Health Healing. And the phone number is 410-795-1152. Again, 410-795-1152. Now, and I gave you all that information because I'm getting ready to get up out of here. But listen, one thing Miss Emily didn't ask me about, and that's it. When y'all hear this bell, baby, you know something is amazing about to be said. And this bell, like, where does this fool get this bell from? Baby, let me tell you something. It's short because I can talk, or I have to slow down. So, like, a group of my friends used to come to my house. My gay friends used to come to my house, and we used to, like, the term we use in the community, cut one another. So every time somebody would get a cut or a good reader, somebody would ring the bell. And I was like, oh. So for me, moving forward, I was like, you know what? I need to do something different for this, for what I'm going to do that's different than anybody else. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just go. And baby, let me tell you something. It's been, I was told it was known as my signature series. For example, one of the, because I gotta go, and I gotta go too. One of the artists, he invited me over, Chanel Walker, his work is amazing too, up and coming artist here in Baltimore. So I went over his house to do an interview. The first thing he want to ask me is, where's the bell? I was like, where's the bell? He was like, yeah, where's your bell? He was like, that's a part of who you are. I don't want to do this video without the bell. I was like, oh. So there, I make sure I have my bell. So when you hear that bell, baby, you know something amazing is about to happen. Or that you hear something that's going to send you out of this world, baby.
No question about it. No
I'm over
question about it. Absolutely. And your videos are wonderful. We will be looking for those bells and learning at the same time. So, Professor Paul, I want to thank you for your time, and I'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.